There's a fantastic book that came out about a year ago, about 10 months ago, Soul Cravings. It's written by Owen McManus. And while I was in Ireland with him about a year ago, I got a hold of an advanced copy of, actually his copy of this particular book, and I read it. And it was an amazing book. And I actually ended up buying one of my own. I actually haven't read the one that I bought, but I read it about a year ago. And there were some thoughts from that I started taking notes and started writing down some thoughts that I'm going to use as tools tonight to help us discuss this first, kind of strand of our DNA. We talked about ethos the last 2 weeks. Then this week we're going to talk about faith, hope, and love, which really are the ingredients, kind of the recipe for what an apostolic missional ethos can be. And tonight we're going to start off with love, with engaging in love. And so you may hear some things from that book. While we were in Belfast that week, Erwin spoke at the second largest Protestant church in the entire country of Northern Ireland. And the particular conference that he was speaking at, the topic of that conference, the theme of that conference was future of the church. Dun, dun, dun. Erwin goes pretty much all over the world and talks about the future of the church. A lot of people are wondering, they're worried, they're stressing out, they're sweating over it, they're getting themselves ulcers over it. Other people could care less about it, but the future of the church is a very, very hot topic right now in the church, especially in the American church and in the Western church. And there are really two major ways of looking at it, and I'm going to kind of start off by touching on these two things. Two major ways of looking at the future of the church. There are two questions to ask. Pay attention real carefully, because I'm going to have you talk about these at your table. If there's only one or two of you at your table, go join another table, because I'm going to want you guys to talk about these two questions. Here they are, right? There's a nuance. Pay attention. Two questions. First of all, is there a church for the future? Question number one. Question number two, is there a future for the church? Okay, I'm going to say that again. They are different. Number one, is there a church for the future? And number two, is there a future for the church? I want you to take 3 minutes, and I want you to discuss the difference in these two questions or comments. What are the differences? Go. You have 3 minutes. Is there a church for the future? Is there a future for the church? Join another table, too, if you guys want to. Not only discuss the difference in these questions, but also try to answer these questions. Number one, is there a church for the future? Number two, is there a future for the church? Give me 3 seconds. All right, 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. All right, here we go. What did you guys come up with? Just a couple tables. Give me an answer. Yes. So the answer would be yes, and youth is the answer to the future. Very good. That's a good answer. Anyone else? What are the differences? Yes.
As far as the church, he was answering for a future for the church, right?
Yes.
Well, the church for the future, we agree, is definitely non-traditional.
Non-traditional? You guys all agreed on that. Anyone think that's not true? You can say that that's not true. That doesn't. I'm not trying to start a fight.
Oh, come on.
You guys want to fight?
I think that because there will always be different people that are part of the church body, so I think that the phase the church takes will be always the way it is now. Crowd, older crowd, middle crowd, and I think it's great to minister to all those people. And I think even in the future there will be still those areas. They will all look different, but I think there will still be all three areas.
Very good. Yeah.
I think the future of the church is definitely the children. And the church of the future is going to have to find new ways to relate Jesus to those children. But the message will stay the same.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. And you actually could answer these questions differently if you were to take out church and put in like local church or the church, capital C, which would be kind of, all of the fellowship of believers all over the world. Local church is kind of one of the main things I want to hit on tonight. Is there a future for the local church, and is there a church for the future? But you can look at it in a lot of different ways. Good discussion, you guys. Good insights on that. I would say the answer is yes and no. I would say yes, there's a church for the future because the church will always prevail. I mean, the Bible tells me so. So yes, there is a church for the future, but there is not a future for every church. Why not? Why not? Why is there not a future for every church? See, not every church. What's that?
You said the church.
I did. But how you interpret that could be which church. See, a lot of people look at the church and they think DFC. They think theClay. They think Cherry Hills. They think Willow Creek. They think, whatever, First Church of the Nazarene in middle of Iowa. You could answer that. It's not a trick question. I wanted you guys to answer it however you saw fit. But when you actually look at, is there a future for the church? Depending upon which lens you're looking through, I would say no, because there is not a future for every church. Not every church will prevail. Yes, the Church of Jesus Christ, until he returns, will figure out what it means to be the body in a particular context. I mean, the Bible tells us that that is the case. But churches are closing their doors everywhere. So we either have to figure out what we're doing wrong and become the church for the future, or recognize that we're history. Yes?
Why not figure out what we're doing right?
That too. We'll let your table work on that. I mean, you have to. Are you going to be the church for the future? Or are you going to be history? Because that's where we're headed if we don't look that way. Church consultants go to churches all over the place. All over the place. All around the country, and try to help them figure out what they're doing wrong so that they'll survive. I don't think that's such a good idea, and I'll tell you why. The reality is that if a church isn't alive, it's a bad reflection on God. It should not be kept on life support. If a church is not fully alive, it is a bad reflection on God. The longer you keep them looking like they're alive, the more possibility there is that people will misunderstand what the church is like. Can we be honest for a minute? I mean, don't be dishonest, but can we be honest for this next minute? It's embarrassing to belong to the church. It's embarrassing sometimes. I mean, if you're going to engage a person who doesn't know God and you want to eventually show them Christ, you're undercover for as long as you can, unfortunately. It's kind of like that weird cousin that you invite to the family picnic, but you give them the wrong date. You tell them a day later, and when they show up, everyone's already gone. I mean, wouldn't it be exciting if we could just discard all of the baggage that holds us back? Because it seems that if you could strip away all the stuff that we call church down to the thing that Jesus actually died for, it would be so attractive, so magnetic, so winsome to those people that are searching for God. Instead,